Well, it finally happened. I shook Krampus's ankles hard enough and cashed in enough winter keys to grab me an Eagle Bear. Got some decent rolls too. So went down to the fire range to dump a few mags, and then I realized I had to get ready for my stream on Sunday. So went ahead and just logged off. Later in the week, I found out via Reddit that the general consensus is that the gun is kind of mid. The parts of the community that managed to get one have been pretty consistent in their assessment that the Eagle Bear is overhyped. So when I saw this, my first thought was, I mean, it's a raid exotic, right? Like, how bad can it be? So I got really curious. So next time I logged on was when I got home from work later that day. At first, after messing around with it, I kind of agree with the community. So for instance, its range stat is 26 meters, while most other ARs have 31 meters. The only AR that has a worse range stat is the Chameleon at 21 meters. And well, it's technically a Vector SMG coded to be an AR in game, so that isn't helping the Eagle Bear's argument much. It has a magazine size of 60, but St. Elmo's engine has 70, and the thing kicks like a mule when you first pull the trigger, causing the barrel to climb higher than my blood pressure if you're not ready for it. But when I looked at the rest of its stats, I realized there's a little more to the story. The eagle eye sight and jagged beak muzzle add 15% crit hit chance and 20% crit hit damage to your desired build, and its stability is on the high end of its class. Its talents, yeah, it has two: Eagle Strike and Tenacity. Boost accuracy by up to 30% while firing, and delay anywhere from 40% to 80% of taken damage while the Tenacity buff is active, which is activated by a headshot kill. That damage is erased, as in it is wiped, like Thanos snapped out of existence, if you can draw 3 enemies during that time. Long story short, the gun will get more accurate as you fire, and you can straight up ignore damage as long as you get 3 kills during Tenacity's duration, which is about 15 seconds. 1 or 2 kills will ignore 1 to 2/3 of the total damage delayed, which is still pretty good because it's better than taking all of that damage. So this led me to realize, between the lower range stat and the Tenacity talent, that this gun is meant for playstyles that are hyper aggressive. It rewards players that are willing to get up to their eyeballs in bad guys, fight through the pain, and watch your enemies crumble. So I threw together 2 quick builds that lean into the aggressive play that this weapon asks of its user, along with a striker build because, well, striker. Turns out this gun too wants to get pretty dirty. So let's get into it. Bro, why you looking at your shoes? Now is not the time to be tying your shoelaces, bro. We are in a combat zone. 0 survival skills, bro. Ooh, we got a big beefy boy. Come here, bro. Let me get a good look at you. All right, so I like to call this one Eagle's Talon, since it uses the Hunter's Fury gear set, and it sounds kind of cool. Don't judge me. Now, your first thought might be, why Hunter's Fury? And I get it. Its 2-piece bonus is a damage buff to shotguns and SMGs, and, not ARs, but hear me out for a second. Its 4-piece bonus is called Apex Predator, which gives a debuff to any enemies within 15 meters and amplifies damage to them by 20%. This affects all enemy types and is active with any weapon, including ARs. Drop that same enemy and receive a 5% damage boost for 10 seconds. This can stack up to 5 times and will apply to any weapon, including ARs. Lastly, any enemy within 5 meters of a freshly dropped debuffed enemy will receive the Disorient debuff, which can be activated, again, using any weapon. This, of course, includes ARs. I paired 3 pieces of Hunter's Fury with the Equalizer chest from the Unit Alloys brand set, and an old favorite, the Picaro's holster from the Brazos de Arcabu's brand set. Yeah, I really hope I said that right. This is tied together with the Ninja Bike Messenger backpack. Hey, roll those eyes back into your head. I'll get to why I chose that in a second, but first, I want to go over the rolls for the 2 name pieces. For the Equalizer, it's the usual: crit hit chance and crit hit damage with a crit hit damage mod. The core attribute is red for 15% weapon damage. For Picaro's holster, I rolled the core attribute for 1 skill tier. This is where the Ninja Bike bag comes in. It's an exotic, so it has all 3 core attributes: damage, armor, and a skill tier. And since it can unlock brand set and gear set bonuses simultaneously, I can get the bonus skill tier from the Brazos brand set with just Picaro's holster. This matters because of the skill I chose to run with this kit, the Striker Shield. Its strength is based on skill and armor tiers, and this build has 3 skill tiers and 1 armor tier, giving a total score of 4. This shield is available when using the Firewall specialization weapon, and will amplify weapon damage to all targets in front of it by 7% per tier. This adds 28% weapon damage when the shield is deployed. Not to mention, a shield at level 4 won't exactly crumble, at least not immediately, when getting team shot by the enemy. The end result is a potential ceiling of 127% bonus weapon damage, with all damage buffs and debuffs active, and perfect obliterate at all 24 stacks. The kicker is that you have to get close. Close enough to question your life choices when engaging the enemy, as this is only possible within 15 meters of them. But with the tenacity talent from the Eagle Bear and the 20% armor on kill and 50% health on kill bonus from Hunter's Fury, this, along with the shield, will help you staying on your feet. Quick side note, the Fireball spec gives 30% health on kill, so the kit gives you 80% in total. I don't even remember where they come from.
Reinforcements incoming.
They come from this side.
Detecting
Yes,
additional hostile contacts.
All right, Jimmy, tell them how you feel, bro. All right, admittedly, there's a lot less science for this build, which is kind of why I like it so much. It's pretty straightforward. 3 pieces of unit alloys, 1 piece of Fenris Group AB, and 1 piece of Palisade Steelworks, paired with the Memento Exotic Backpack. As featured, I have unit alloys gloves with a salvo holster, which adds 5% to a weapon's rate of fire, and another appearance of the Equalizer chest piece. The Fenris piece is the mask, and the knee pads are the Palisade piece. The star of the show is most definitely the Memento backpack, as its talent, kill confirmed, is both what requires you to be aggressive and what allows you to be aggressive. Each kill drops a trophy, which for 10 seconds will grant 5% weapon damage and skill efficiency per weapon and skill core, respectively, and 10% bonus armor per armor core. For 6 minutes, each token will increase weapon damage and skill efficiency by 1% and grant 0.1% armor regen. This can stack up to 30, giving 30% weapon damage and skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen when at max. You only have to collect 1 token to reset that timer. The damage ceiling is a little lower when compared to my last build, 84% with all perfect obliterate stacks, but survivability is higher. That and the short-term damage bonus from each token is 25%, which should be enough to net 3 kills before tenacity expires. Also, when paired with the gunner specialization, as featured, you get 20% armor on kill, thanks in part to the Palisade brand piece. This build requires the audacity to leave cover and get in your enemy's face, mostly to get the kill trophy, but it will reward you for your effort. Put that Chipotle burrito down. Bro, how you just gonna sneak up on somebody like that, really?
Area secure.
See, clutch. Clutch saved my life, in addition. So yeah, this is another typical striker build. I'm not gonna try and fancy this up. The chest is my buddy, the Equalizer, and the backpack is a unit alloys piece with clutch as a talent. I went this route for more survivability, as crit hits will recover 2.5% of missing armor when below 15%, and will grant 2.5% armor per second on a kill for a minimum of 4 seconds. Each weapon core adds 1 second to this, so this build has 5 weapon cores for a total of 9 seconds. This won't allow you to face tank a legendary stronghold, but it will give you the chance to survive a boss encounter, especially if you got rushed, because, hunters like doing that. I don't like hunters. And potentially survive the delayed damage from tenacity should you get less than 3 kills. This build isn't so much for aggressive gameplay, but more for when you don't really have the choice and you have to get into the paint to survive. One final note. All armor pieces for all builds, unless otherwise noted, have been rolled for crit hit chance and crit hit damage, with 1 piece rolled for armor as a core attribute. With the exception of Eagle's talent, skills, along with the secondary weapons, are all dealer's choice. So I used each of these builds on a recent live stream, and well, my flabbers have been gasted. This game went from being a cover-based shooter, where being out in the open is a quick way to get sent back to the start screen, to being the Doomslayer, to literally being too angry to die. It was eye-opening, to say the least. Having said that, there are some downsides. So to start, tenacity can't be refreshed. Once it ends, it has to be activated again, which means another headshot. That's great if your next kill is a headshot kill, but if it isn't, you're stuck until you can get another one, and most enemies won't exactly stand still and let you land one. This can get you in a lot of trouble if you're still knee deep in bad guys and you're taking damage faster than you're dishing it out. Also, the recoil on this gun is just bananas. Even after getting a feel for it, there were moments where I felt like I was resting a fire hose. So that feeling is magnified when you're using a shield. I play on Xbox with a controller, so this issue may only be controller specific, but it's still there. So here's my final opinion. I ultimately favor using cover and range to play the game. Since I play solo more than 90% of the time, that means the game ends when I go down. I have to use cover to my advantage so that I'm not overrun by funky breath and bad choices in, say, a retaliation. Some game modes are just far less forgiving to aggressive playstyles. When this gun first arrived on the scene, it was a titan amongst mortals. It could quite literally do anything it wanted. It was the best in slot for just about every build. Nowadays, we have other options. St. Elmo's engine and the Lexington both exist and hold their damage at range. The Chameleon chews up targets at close range and spits them back out when all of its buffs are active. Yeah, even the Strega starts folding bad guys like lawn chairs once it gets going. So ultimately, the Eagle Bear is still a strong option and it still bangs hard and it fits with many builds. Honestly, I'm going to hang on to the Eagle's Flight build for things like Countdown and maybe a retaliation or two. Having said that, though, it's not the only option anymore. And quite frankly, it's no longer a guaranteed best. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Eagle Bear, man. Let me know if you agree in the comments, or let me know if I royally messed things up and left a few things out. Either way, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.